presentations tonight. We're going to start with technology. We're not going in alphabetical order.
Technology is the first.
Technology is the first, okay.
So we'd like to welcome up Mr. Michael Lee. Welcome.
Yes. Oh, let's see.
So before you start, Mike, I have to say, in looking over your presentation before, I'm thinking, I don't even know what half of these words are. so I'm hoping you're going to explain it to us while you talk through your presentation.
I think so. All right. So I'm Mike Lee, and this is the technology update presentation. And I'm really excited to be here today because legitimately, I think for the first time, I've got a presentation where I could use a laser pointer.
Oh, cool.
You see that?
Ah,
Okay,
I like that.
so that's for later. I'm going to use
Very
that later.
high-tech
It is very I know I could use the cursor.
25 years ago.
Yeah.
You need one that shines that
If you
way.
had
I know I should. I need
Now,
to
if you had an
do
AI
this.
bot
I
doing
know.
your presentation for you, then that
You know
would
what?
kind of
need
The
an AI
budget
background.
presentation. That's what we're gonna do.
what you're gonna do?
That's what we're gonna do. I was
be
just
like
talking
an
to Dave.
AI
That's-
hologram of
yes.
you
I like
standing
it.
there.
I like it. All right.
Cool, that would be.
So we'll start off with a quote. It's not that we use technology, we live technology. And I think as technology gets more pervasive, right? And the more technology we have just in our pockets, right? This has never been more true. And it's only going to continue to become even more true, if it could become more true. So yes, I believe we are truly living technology now. Okay. So what have we been up to, and what are we up to? Well, we continue our BenQ product homogenization, which means we're standardizing on just one platform, right? So currently, we've got all of our academic spaces covered with, flat panel displays, right? But they're not all from BenQ. So what we're doing is just to make the experience for the teachers and for the students the same. We're replacing the old new line displays with BenQs, and that's sort of like in a staged process. And of course, we're continuing to provide our on-demand professional development with these.
Just before you go on,
Yeah.
are we losing anything in the homogenization?
No, these are much better than the devices that we're replacing.
So it's mostly devices, not programs?
No, right. These are displays.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like touch
Okay,
panel,
okay,
like displays.
okay,
Yeah.
got it.
Yep.
Okay.
All right. So we've got new network cores, and I was thinking, what's a good way that I could try to explain what a network core is, that everyone understands it? And so I thought, ooh, it's like a roundabout, right? So the size, you have to think about this. The size of files on the internet, they're definitely not getting any smaller, right? If anything, they're getting bigger. Think about the phones, think about the pictures you take on your phones, right? The file sizes are pretty big now. On phones, you could also take 4K video, right? These files are huge. And if you want to send it to somebody, it has to go through a network to do that. So a network core is like changing out a roundabout, right? Think of like the switches and the access points as the streets, right? But then a roundabout, everything in a network has to go through the cores. Sort of like a roundabout, right? Like all the traffic has to go into the roundabout to go pick another destination. It goes in and then it goes out another way. So what we did was we installed larger roundabouts that could handle faster traffic, that could handle larger cars, right? So that's what we did. The elementary school is all done, and the high school is scheduled to have this one replaced on November 26th. So why does this matter, right? Well, with all this traffic going through, we have to make sure we have enough bandwidth for this. Computer-based testing, right? With everyone taking pictures and sending videos and everything, we have to make sure that the kids can take their tests without flaw, without fault, right?
What happened to the middle school? You had elementary school, high school.
The cores are campus-based. So there's the elementary school campus.
High school, middle school, campus.
high school,
Okay,
yeah,
got
high
it,
school,
okay.
yeah.
I just, okay, got it.
Yeah. It'd be funny if I were like, middle school. They don't need one.
Wait, I'm glad Travis isn't here. Okay, thank you.
So spring of 2026, that's when we have full computer-based testing, right? So we're on track to get all the roundabouts in, all the streets like widened by then.
And then the state has to do their part.
And the state has to do their part, right. Okay, so security. Keep learning open, keep access controlled. Yeah, I thought of that.
That was very good.
So keep access controlled. We're working on an access control project right now. And what it is basically the building access control. What is that? Those are the swipe cards you use to get into the building. Now what we're doing is we're switching off what we currently have to a solution that's hardware agnostic. Now what does that mean? That means that we could use the solution that we're going to can use hardware that we could buy from, say, Amazon, which, as you know, if we could purchase from a place like Amazon or even eBay if you want, right, that could drastically reduce our costs, right, and increases our flexibility. So we're no longer tied to any single vendor's product, right? So that's basically what we're doing. And this is a parallel migration. So as we bring one system online, it's slowly assuming the roles of the older system. That way there's no downtime. Okay. So now Jackie's got this great future of education team, and I'm really happy to be part of it. The team is made up of representatives from, all buildings, and we're tasked with the following: establish guidelines for AI use, ensure student data privacy and security, define appropriate AI applications, develop teacher training programs, and monitor impact on learning outcomes. Now, we're doing the first two, and hats off to the teachers who came in over the summertime to establish the guidelines for AI use, because it's a huge undertaking. It's a lot of work, tons of conversations, because we're really sort of at the forefront of establishing guidelines, right? So you can't just Google guidelines, because everyone's sort of scrambling to develop the guidelines, right? So we came up with our own guidelines, and Jackie shared them with teachers recently, right? So, we're well on our way to exploring AI. Now, how could AI create new opportunities for learning? How does this fit into the board's core values? Now, this year is the opportunity year, right? So how does AI fit into all of this? Well, one product is something called Quizzes, right? Quizzes is a quiz creation and quiz enhancement product. And what you could do is you could create quizzes from prompts, documents that you upload, or even just single URLs, right? So you could paste in a URL and it will develop quiz questions for you. It also has accommodations for diverse learners like read aloud, extra time. You've got bilingual dictionaries, translations, and I even saw one today. If you're dyslexic, it could use a special dyslexic font to make it easier and less stressful for those with dyslexia to read it. So here's how it works. I went on the Putnam Valley wiki page and just copied the link, right? Just copy the URL and you drop it into Quizzes. You see that single URL? Just drop it in, and then, here comes the laser pointer part. But I can't go over there. But as you could see, it created questions. Oh, I guess you can't read it. Well, this one says, what is the nickname of Putnam Valley, right? You see your little choices there? Town of Lakes. See if I can zoom it in. No, I can't zoom it in. Oh, okay. Right, and the second one is, in which year did Putnam Valley incorporate as a town of Quincy? Right, and so
Would have been fun if we gave these questions to Sam without the answers.
it would be fun.
Just
I
see
got
how
them
well
all
he
right.
did.
I got them all right.
Trivia.
Sam trivia.
But think about what it just did, right?
why it's the
It took a URL and it read what was on the page, and then it developed questions, developed answers for you, right? I mean, that's pretty powerful, right? Just to take it from a link to develop these questions. Here's another format, another quiz. I believe the answer is Fonstock.
It is.
It is. Good. Now keep that in mind. Keep Fonstock in mind, especially the pronunciation is going to be important later. Okay, and now these are all the accommodations. Okay, maybe you can't read them, but these are all the accommodations that Quizzes has for diverse learners.
Redemption question.
Okay, so I don't know if everyone remembers this, but I kind of presented this slide last year. I said, don't be fooled. Not everything is real AI. You see how there's a progressive lens powered by AI? I don't know how that's possible. But you're seeing a lot of products these days marketing themselves as having AI, like camera systems using like facial recognition or this, that, saying, oh, we use AI. But it's not. It's just recognition, right? But they're just marketing to you, we use AI, blah, 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 to try to sell products. So what does real AI look like? Right? What we just saw, that's real AI, right? But I think we're all used to entering in text, right? You enter in text, a prompt, and then you receive text back.
Right.
Right? And then you're going to read it. Or you could ask Siri a question or something, and then it'll read back to you essentially the text that it produced. That's what we're used to. Let me introduce you to Notebook LM. Notebook LM, has anyone heard of this, by the way? Notebook LM?
No.
You have. Gold star. All right. Notebook LM for me, it helps me learn in the way I learn best, right? So for me, this is a new opportunity. This is a new learning opportunity for me. What it does is I could take the same wiki link that I shared before, right, the Putnam Valley link, and it can create for me these things. An FAQ, a study guide, a timeline, briefing doc, all these things. It could do that. So, as you can see, you could upload a link or kind of just like quizzes, right? So this is what it looks like. And you can see here that there's a timeline of events that it created for Putnam Valley, right? It created a study guide that you could use to maybe study for the quiz that you may get, right? But what else can it do? Let's rewind for a little bit. Okay, if you'll see, there's something there called audio overview, right? What is that? What it is Notebook LM has the ability to create podcasts. Now, I'm a podcast lover. It takes me 36 minutes to drive from home to here, and that's my podcast time. I learn a lot just by driving to and from work. So Notebook LM, using the same single link, remember, it's just one URL, paste it into Notebook LM, it could generate a podcast with 2 speakers, right, educating you about whatever you want to learn about. Now, it doesn't stop there. Notice I said Notebook LM dug deeper, and it gathered more sources of information for richer content. It didn't stop at just the wiki link. It looked at all the other links inside the wiki. It got that information and incorporated it into the podcast. So it's more than just a text-to-text exchange, right? You're not typing something in, it's returning text and reading it. It's not that, it's creating conversation. Now, I spoke to the music department about 3 weeks ago, and they're experimenting with it. They took the kids to go see Carmen, the opera. So they used this to tell the kids all about what Carmen is about. Okay, so in the podcast that I created with this wiki, it was about 20 minutes long. I'm not going to play that for you because that's 20 minutes, but I will play 4 minutes and 30 seconds for you to hear. While it's playing, I would like you to keep in mind what you're hearing, right? Keep in mind what it's actually doing or what it did. Okay, none of these people exist.
Welcome to another deep dive. Today we're headed to Putnam Valley, New York.
Putnam Valley, New York.
Now, I know what you might be thinking.
What's that?
Another small town. What's so special about this one?
Right.
But trust me, Putnam Valley, with its self-proclaimed title of Town of Lakes, has some serious depth.
Town of Lakes.
Okay, we've got a Wikipedia article here packed with fascinating details about its history, people, and even some of the unique names of its communities.
Oh, that's cool.
So, are you ready to jump in?
Yeah, let's dive in.
All right.
What's immediately striking is how Putnam Valley's past is literally etched into its landscape.
Okay.
We're talking the impact of the last ice age.
Wow.
With glaciers carving out those valleys and leaving behind those massive boulders you see scattered around.
It's incredible to think about these powerful forces shaping the very ground we walk on, right?
Yeah, for sure.
But before we get too lost in the scenery, our article mentions that Putnam Valley was once home to Paleo Indians, followed by the Wappinger Indians.
That's right. These were indigenous peoples who thrived in this region long before European settlers arrived.
Right.
The Paleo Indians were among the earliest inhabitants of North America.
Wow.
Known for their distinctive stone tools and hunting practices.
I see.
The Wappingers, on the other hand, were part of the Algonquin-speaking tribes,
Okay.
skilled in fishing, hunting, and agriculture.
So their presence really adds a rich layer of cultural history to Putnam Valley, reminding us that this land has been inhabited for centuries.
Exactly, yeah.
It's amazing to think about all the different generations who have called this place home. Speaking of names, Putnam Valley wasn't always known by that title, was it?
You're sharp. It was initially incorporated as Quincy in 1839.
Quincy.
But just a year later, it was renamed Putnam Valley.
Okay.
Now, there's speculation that this change might have had something to do with John Quincy Adams's political unpopularity at the time.
Oh, interesting.
Maybe the residents weren't too keen on being associated with him.
A little bit of historical drama, I love it.
Yeah.
It just shows how even small towns can have these fascinating backstories.
Yeah, definitely.
But enough about names for a moment.
Okay.
Let's talk about what draws people to Putnam Valley today.
Right.
I'm seeing a lot of mentions of nature and conservation efforts in this article.
Absolutely. A significant portion of Putnam Valley is dedicated to preserving its natural beauty.
Okay.
We're talking about Clarence Fanistock State Park.
Fanistock, okay.
A sprawling area with hiking trails, lakes, and campgrounds perfect for those seeking outdoor adventures.
Sounds beautiful.
Then there's the Hudson Highlands Land Trust,
Mm-hmm.
a nonprofit organization dedicated to protecting the region's scenic landscapes and natural resources.
So it's safe to say that Putnam Valley prioritizes its green spaces.
For sure.
I bet that appeals to people looking for a respite from city life.
Yeah,
Maybe even those considering a move out of the urban hustle and bustle.
you're spot on. And when we look at the demographics from the 2000 census, we see that a high percentage of households, about 67.1%, were married couples living together.
Okay.
This, combined with a median household income of $72,938, paints a picture of a stable, family-oriented community.
It sounds like the kind of place where people put down roots and build lasting connections.
Definitely.
But what about the younger generation?
Yeah, the kids.
What's life like for students growing up in Putnam Valley?
Well, this is where things get really interesting.
Right.
The Putnam Valley Central School District stands out for its unique approach to education.
How so?
They've implemented a program where every student from 5th to 12th grade receives a laptop or Chromebook.
Wow, that's quite a commitment to technology.
It is.
But it gets even better, doesn't it?
How's that?
I'm seeing something here about high schoolers getting Apple laptops.
Exactly. It's a bold move that reflects Putnam Valley's forward-thinking approach to education. Their laptop agreement even states that this initiative is part of their mission to prepare students for the future. They recognize that technology is not just a tool, but a fundamental part of how we learn, work, and connect with the world.
That's like they're saying, we're equipping you with the skills you need to thrive in a digital age.
Exactly.
But beyond the practical benefits, I wonder what this says about the community's values.
Yeah.
Is there a sense that Putnam Valley embraces innovation and progress while still holding on to its small town charm?
That's a great question, and one we should definitely explore further.
So what did we just witness?
The new
Right?
real estate
Magic,
agents.
Right?
Our next ad.
As soon as that AI can drive the bus, then Sam and Dave are gonna be out of business.
Right.
Not for nothing, but watching Jeremy just beam about all of the things being said about
Yes,
Putnam
yes,
Valley
yes,
Schools was a lot of
yes.
fun.
I was thinking we need to update Wikipedia.
Yeah, right.
It's about 20 years old, a lot of that.
That's right.
So think about this, and then I'll move on. But really think about this. From one link, just one link, and this was just 4 minutes and 30 seconds of a 20-minute podcast that it created in a matter of minutes. It analyzed the data on the page. It went through the links in the page, right? Then it developed not just speech, but it
characters.
developed conversation.
yeah.
Right? In podcasts, people interrupt each other all the time with, yeah, you got it. And it somehow knew how to do that. Now, it didn't get everything right. Font stock, Fanistock, I think it said.
Yeah.
But close enough, right? I mean, that was pretty incredible.
It was amazing.
My mind's blown.
Amazing.
Okay, so looking ahead, what do we have to plan for? These are our successfully completed stage upgrades that we started in 2002 through this year. That's the multifunction device refresh, that's copiers. Storage replacement, that's like where all of our data is held, that's done. And the network core replacement that we just talked about, the roundabout, those are done. Well, high school's gonna be done in a couple weeks. So just over the horizon, what we need to plan for is a server replacement. We have somewhere in the order of over maybe 50 or so systems running here, so that needs to be replaced. Switch replacement and then the wireless access point replacement. The switches and the wireless access points, those are the roads leading to the roundabout. Okay. I think this is an appropriate quote to close with. Any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic.
Absolutely.
And I think we just witnessed magic
Yeah.
today with that podcast, right? But I'll tell you though, this is where the real magic happens. This is the technology team. So, all right.
We agree.
I think it's
I agree.
Well done.
Yes. Well done.
all right. Yep.
Excellent.
Wonderful.
So let me,
Thank you.
when you think about the magic, and you think about the work that you said you did to set AI standards and for students, like, how do you write a standard for something that is growing so fast and changing
Yeah.
so rapidly
Right.
that still keeps our students focused on what they need to be focused on? You know?
Well, a lot of it is focusing in part on the fundamentals, right? So what do we know when we're developing a guideline or a standard? We know that we have to follow Ed Law 2D. So we have to keep the kids' data private, right? Because we're sort of mandated to do that. So then that means, like, if you just kind of like follow that tree down, we wouldn't necessarily use every AI tool out there, right? Because we're just not allowed to. So then we have to kind of focus on, well, then which tools can we use? Then we identify tools that we can use, right? And then from there, we develop training on those tools that we either have signed agreements with, that New York has signed agreements with, or, well, basically, that's a huge one, getting the Ed Law 2D passed. So, yeah, I mean, it all kind of stems from there.
And the goal is always moving.
Yeah, and the goals are, but that's where ChatGPT comes in. We just ask it.
Amazing.
So a question I have is, I guess I'm thinking about this a little bit differently now after this presentation, is about the different applications that are run by AI and what those cost what we're looking at as far as what's available, what we know is safe for students to use. Dr. Luft and I learned about School AI,
Yes.
right, which is an AI platform for schools that's safer than just the world out there of ChatGPT. And I guess I was always under the assumption that it would just be that, and that would do all the things. But now seeing that this is specialized in this particular feature of podcasts, I'm imagining that there are others out there inventing their own AI applications that are now going to be able to be siphoned off in different directions for
Right.
specialties, right? So like, what does that look like? Are we, when we embark on using something, how is that initiative decided on? How is then the rollout of that initiative used? Like, how are we deciding, do we use this platform or this platform or this tool or this tool? So just some questions I have, because I guess I was looping everything together in like a School AI platform that you would be
Right.
able to say to School AI, you are a 9th grade global history teacher.
Yep.
Create a quiz for XYZ from this particular passage, right? Instead of using an application just for that.
So again, so anything that we choose to offer has to meet that EdLaw 2D
Right.
standard, right? So
Right.
immediately that eliminates like 99% of the tools out there. School AI happens to be one that is approved. And School AI, and I guess you guys learned about that, is sort of like a ChatGPT that's kind of like made safer, right? It's
Right.
got like a safe
Protected.
wrapper on it.
Right.
So it keeps the kids focused on what they're trying to look up, right? Now, when it comes to teachers using AI resources, like this one, like Notebook LM, that's currently available to teachers, not available for kids, right? So the teachers would be able to go in and use these resources, listen to the podcasts, look at the product that it creates, and then from there, they decide whether that's appropriate for their kids or not. So that's sort of where we are now, right? We're trying to guide the teachers into this is how you could use these tools to help you in the classroom. How do you create new learning opportunities for your kids using these AI tools, right? So for like the music department, trying to explain what Carmen is about. You could send the kids a wiki link or like, this is what Carmen the Opera is about. I tried to read it. I was like, I don't really get it. But I would definitely listen to a podcast about it. Definitely.
Could this system create visual images as well?
Yeah, I mean,
In other
Notebook,
words, you're doing a podcast, but
Yeah.
see two people talking. Or in the case of doing an opera, a study of an opera, actually having that go on through AI.
yeah, I mean,
creation.
if you throw enough compute power at it, it definitely can. But Notebook LM, since that's free, right? They're not offering that sort of capability.
understand.
Right.
But when I do
But
find
it is
one-
possible.
It is possible,
Okay.
and hopefully, when it's the budget presentation, I won't be here, and it'll be an AI person. So we'll see.
That
Yeah.
would be cool.
Yeah.
I love that stuff.
You answered one of my questions. For the LM is free. Are we utilizing any of our budget to get any of these like School AI, or are they all free applications?
The only one that we're paying for right now is quizzes.
That's like the grown-up version of Quizlet when I was a kid.
Yeah.
It's
Yep.
it's amazing.
Yep. Yep.
It is amazing.
Okay. Yeah.
So just to add to the conversation, yes, there are AI platforms that could create a video instead, and all you'd have to do is upload a script or not even, just a brief description of what you want to see, and it'll generate an entire video with voiceover and everything. So there are multiple platforms out there to use. Some do cost money, some have a free trial, some are free to use. The purpose of the Future of Education team is to be those pioneers, to be the learners, to go to BOCES on quarterly meetings and explore these different applications and tools. We come back and we meet together and we talk about things like, how do we introduce this to staff, or is this even something worth talking about with staff? One of the purposes of the team was also to generate those guidelines so that teachers kind of knew what was within their parameter to do with AI at this time, and they're all made well aware of those EdLaw 2D CC requirements, so they're not presenting the children to use any generative AI programs. But they can have access to these same programs we're talking about so that they can use them to make their instruction more creative, more efficient, increase their own productivity. So those are some of the ways we're showing teachers and teaching teachers about the AI tools. To answer Barbara's question too, from the instructional side about standardization or standards in general, I think what still holds true is critical thinking, asking good questions. Each of these programs requires, if you really want to do it well and generate something awesome, your prompting or the questions you ask it or task you give it to do needs to be very specific, needs to be very detailed. So our students are still, if we're still teaching them about being inquiry-minded, if we're still teaching them about being critical thinkers and being principled and reflective and checking, their resources and checking for misinformation, they will do well with these platforms, but they need to be taught those skills first and foremost. These are just tools. You still have to have all of that same knowledge and understanding about how to use these tools and how to ask good questions and how to give specific details in order for an AI platform to carry out a task.
All right, which places a tremendous responsibility on teachers, because with the students being able to find information in so many ways this way, like you have to really be connected with them as people and as learners in order to guide them. I remember at the regional dinner last year, and they were talking, students were presenting, and they asked the teachers, well, like, how do you know whether the student generated their essay through an AI? And they said, well, like, because we read their writing all the time. Like, we know, John, this is not your writing. This is not your voice. I mean, teachers have to really be connected to their students in order for
that
the
works right up
technology.
until the fact they start day one using AI. And that's the only voice the teacher would know.
That's true. That's
Give
true.
it to them in class. They can't.
I had mentioned to Sasha during the quizzes piece, I said, or the other option is you upload the quiz and you ask AI to answer the questions for you, which it could do just as easily. So to your point, it requires us as educators to rethink how we assess what we assess of students, right? How students demonstrate knowledge and mastery in ways that are not simply answered by AI in seconds. And I think that's part of the work that Jackie's team is doing, is to rethink how we think about education and how we understand what students know and what it even means to know and understand, right? We were told our whole lives we'll never walk around with a calculator in our pocket, so how important it was to figure out how to do long division. And those teachers were all wrong. Oh, is that still a secret? Sorry. I thought that one was out there by now. Right? It was how
my son is
important it
learning long
is to
division.
memorize all of these facts, because you're never going to have a dictionary or an encyclopedia with you, I should say.
But you
except
do.
for now everybody does. So I think AI is just the next step in that sort of evolution of what does it mean to learn, what does it mean to understand, and how do we best prepare students to be successful in that world.
I think of my late grandmother, born 1900, and when I was a kid, she was telling us about the wonders that she experienced with radio, that a box could talk to you. Well, nobody in the room, but that box is talking to you, and that, to the day she died, that amazed her. TV wasn't as much a big deal for her, but that box that could talk the first time, she said, I thought literally there was somebody living in there, a little creature or something, And what you showed us this evening, Michael, is like, blows your mind.
Yep.
It just is incredible. And I guess that experience that my grandmother had looking at that box is what I'm experiencing tonight with that little podcast that you let us hear. I'm astounded, really amazed. It's awesome.
It is. Yeah.
Awesome.
The opportunities for this are endless.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
I think it's really good that you framed it that way, because we are all about opportunity right now and for the future to come, right?
Right.
And I think that right now, while teachers are starting to dabble in the abilities and capabilities that this can bring to their classroom as far as engagement is concerned, right? A podcast is going to be far more engaging than just reading an article, right? And for auditory learners, it's an amazing thing. This was an opportunity for you. It's
Right.
an opportunity for somebody like me. Maybe a video is an opportunity for somebody else, right? But I think that's the thing that I'm most excited about, is the ability for teachers within seconds to differentiate instruction based on student need, learning type, ability, Lexile level, whatever it is. You can't teach 24 different children by yourself every single day and meet every one of their needs. It's impossible, and we've proven that. It's exhausting. And our poor teachers have worked to the bone to try to do that. And so I think the more that our district can fortify them with tools to be able to differentiate in that way and make learning personalized is going to be really, really impactful. Not just to make it easier to plan or to say, hey, ChatGPT, write me a lesson plan for XYZ because I have an observation tomorrow, but to be able to say, give everybody in my class, 24 students, this same article and make it Lexile level X, Y, and Z so that everybody can access the information is so powerful.
Yeah.
So more to come.
Yeah.
Super exciting.
Yeah.
And other languages.
Yeah.
Like
That's important.
Spanish, right, Sam?
Yeah, definitely.
Yep.
All right.
Great
Great,
job.
Mike.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good
Thank you, that was
presentation. Thank
incredible.
you. Amazing stuff.